Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to highlight another manga. It's called The Liminal Zone from Junji Ito. This is a hardcover that I just got today, along with another one. The other one is this one, Uzumaki, also from Junji Ito, Spiral into Horror. It has damage on it, so I just bringing it back, you know, just, yeah. I mean, I pay good money for this, and I just want to, you know, to have my books in good condition. So what is this? Well, actually, that's a good one because I want to try new, you know, manga, you know, different manga, and this is basically horror, but also different. This is more like, I believe, what I've read is more classic horror. And, you know, years ago, I went to Japan and I just picked me up a couple of other manga, like this one. I have no clue what it says, but this is from Jump Comics. Jump Comics is, you know, like, maybe, I'm not a manga, how do you say? I do not know much about manga. I mean, I've read a lot of, I watched a lot of anime. And so correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is from Viz, by the way, and this is from Jump Comics. I don't know, is this more the Marvel DC from Japan? I could be totally wrong, of course. And I just picked a couple of manga, and they are extremely cheap. I mean, this varies between $2.50 till $5, and listen, and you can see how much you get. So when I was in Japan, I never seen so much books in my whole life. It was crazy. And so I picked up a couple. There's also a horror book. And every book, every manga has a different style. And although I can read it, because as you can see, this is Japanese. I cannot read Japanese. And there's also, you know, Rosaria Vampire. I believe this is, yeah. I don't know, it's a little bit, I don't know what it is, but, you know, it looks great. And I tried to, look at this, it looks awesome. And I come to the realization there's a lot of styles, a lot of different manga in every way. Well, you have every genre, horror, slice of life, comedy, sports, especially sports is also a lot. And so I looked up reviews about certain, you know, horror books, and a lot of people praised Junji Ito, so I took a gamble and, you know, bought me one. I just read it, and you can pause the video if you want to see what's in here. Coming back first one with the quality, it's you know, typical hardcover. It's manga sized. Well, is it? No, it's actually bigger because this is normal manga. So you can see it's way bigger. These are, you know, 4 stories rolled into one. So it has a very nice quality. Love the texture. And it has also this, I always forgot what it's called. It's not a bevel. It's the other way around. You know, that's imprinted, but then with the foil over it, the silver foil. It's pretty cool. So yeah. Look at this. It's pretty nice. So you read it from right to left, you know, typical Japanese style, typical manga. And it has 4 stories: the Weeping Woman Way, the Madonna, the Spirit Flow of Aokigahara. So this is the Suicide Forest. There's probably a couple of you know, and Slumber, and we have the Afterward. So I'm just going through it. I'm not, like I said, doing this page by page because there's a lot of pages. I believe this is 160 pages. I could be wrong. And so we follow the stories of travelers here. It's called Mako. There's this girl and her boyfriend. And they are hearing someone weeping. So it seems that it's some kind of a funeral. And this guy explains basically why this woman is crying so hard. And so it's custom that weeping women it's a job, but also not, because they are the one have the most feelings. So their weeping and their suffering is actually real. It's not an act. But somehow it's you know, embedded in that culture. I'm not sure if it's made up or actually real. If it's actually real, it's pretty cool. Or maybe it's just a, you know, horror story. So it seems that Mako starts to cry too. And she's basically feeling what the weeping woman is also feeling. And then she's, you know, we see the weeping woman here and she looks at her. And then from that time, something's changed in Mako. So they go to the apartment and she cannot cry. And these two are engaged. And he says, hey, Mako, are you unhappy with me? It's not that. It's weird though. I mean, crying for no reason. I don't know if we can live together like this. Maybe we should call off the engagement for now. And then it upsets her more. And when he wakes up, her whole bed is just drowned in tears. So they go, I don't know, they go to find a weeping woman for answers. So they are, you know, going from town to town, and then they hear more sobbing. And the art looks really, really good. Look at the detail here. I believe one of the reviewers that I followed because of this manga said that the style is how do you say? Junji Ito is very good with hair. It looks real good. It has a lot of detail in it. And I agree. I mean, if you look at this, this is fantastic. So they've been suddenly, I don't know, attacked or being engulfed or overwhelmed by something. And then we see they enter some kind of a village. And we have all these signs here with crying eyes. And we see tears flowing on the street. It's crazy stuff. And they finally find a woman here. And she says, I've been waiting for you. I remember you from the funeral. People like you are rare. You know true sadness. It's a fundamental sadness. So, and then she speaks about that she's crying so hard that she even best orui. I hope I said that right. So she's a legendary weeping woman who made a name for herself 200 years ago. And she was weeping so hard that, you know, there was a time of drought, famine, and all that stuff. She shed tears and grief of sadness. And she made a pond or a lake so that people can drink, you know, and all that stuff. And it seems that the crying is laying dead spirits to rest. And the tears that they cry is actually the tears of the dead. So I was intrigued, and then she wants to show her something. And then we see the body of the weeping woman here lying. So they still preserve the body. And also she cried so hard that, I don't know, it made edges in her skull or something. Because the corpse was still crying. But now that she is dead, the spirits are restless, and they fear that they are causing trouble, right? So they try to, I don't know, honor it, and everybody starts to cry to, I don't know, reinvigorate the crying again, I'm not sure. And then Mako here is trying to cry uncontrollably, and there's tears flowing from her eyes like a river. And look at this. This looks really, really, really good. And suddenly the corpse is starting to cry tears, and the spirits are noticing that, and they're starting to feel, you know, I don't know, feel bliss. It looks really, really good. But then something happened to the corpse. The corpse comes to life suddenly, and then the head bursts, and it's going crazy, man. Look at this. But then the spirits are going crazy too because of all that. And so this guy says, hey, let's go. We need to get out of here. And they say, you cannot leave. You need to cry too. It says, don't be ridiculous. And Mako says, I'm going to be a weeping woman. So Yuzuru, I'm staying. And but then the corpse just bursts and there's nothing left. And Lady Oruji, is no more. And so they escape, and all these spirits attacking them. But then You know, it's, like I said, look at this, it's going crazy. What I like about the art is that they can do facial expressions really, really good. But then, coming back a little bit to the story, it seems that Mako, still uncontrollably crying and being sad, but she's getting weaker and weaker and weaker because, you know, it's exhausted her. And then 3 months later, she died. And her eyes are swollen. And her parents didn't believe that, you know, because this guy told the story about, hey, this is what's happening, but the weeping woman didn't believe him. And then they say, well, I believe you now. And then they hear a sound. And there's this weeping woman again. And it's starting to rain. And something happened to the casket here. And it burst open. And then the corpse comes to life. Just like with the other one. And wow, man. It's just freaking awesome. Look at this. And then the corpse disappeared. And then everybody is disappeared. The woman just go back and she say, I'm so happy. It's the second coming of Lady Orui. So very many tears. And, you know, and he's trying to search for her, but he cannot find her. Right? So the endings of all of these books here feels... There's some horror aspects in it, but not much. It's more like building up to something really disturbing and weird. You know, for instance, this second story here. So this is a priest, and there's some kind of I believe, how do you say, a ceremony with, you know, Bible studies. Maybe that's the right word. And this woman is, look at her, she's just gawking at people and there's something off. So it seems that they call her first the Madonna, but then also an angry witch. And it reveals that the priest here, or the principal, had a wife. That wife disappeared, and he remarried this one. And she was so beautiful, they called her Maria, you know, like from the Bible. And this girl is also called Maria. And she noticed there's something going on. So they are starting to gossip, and this girl has something coming out of her ear. But what? Right? And there's also a statue that was broken, and this girl licking that statue because she says it's salt and it's tasty. So this is the creepy principal, and he says, hey, come with me. And he is introducing him, you know, telling the story about he's marrying this woman called Mizuzu Tenyo. And it's now his second wife, but he has also an affair with another woman. Yeah, it goes deep. And this was his first woman, but she was salty. So I secretly call her Salt Woman. I wonder what's going on, right? And so he gives her he said, an order to observe the ceremony, right? The service there. So, and also a statue that has blood coming out of their eyes. And so this girl here that licks the salt is very, you know, scared, because everybody's scared of this woman, right? She says, do you hesitate? And basically she's just all kissing the hands and all that stuff, worshipping her. Right. So this is the girl that this principal supposedly has been cheating on. And so she's been transferred to another part of the building. And this is her roommate. That's the girl that's licking salt, and the stuff coming out, and she's just licking the salt. And when she spoke about the principal's wife, Madonna, she's just shaking in fear. And everybody's starting to act weird. They have a weird look on their faces, salt coming out of their ears. What is going on? And so this guy is I don't know, man. There's something freaky going on, right? And so it seems he has a thing for this young girl now. And he wants to kiss her because he says, well, you're the real virgin. You're the real incarnation of Maria, not my wife. So then the wife comes and they hide. And she's speaking about, you know, that she's so full of hatred and she doesn't know why. And she says, I cannot control my anger over the slightest things. I should be filled with mercy like you. And yet she's praying to this, statue of Mother Maria. And yet I feel anger at students who lack faith, at sloppy teachers, and that cheating husband. And then the eyes start to bleed, and she's, I don't know, feeling blessed or something, because she says, "You understand my sadness." And then she hears the sound, and who is there? Like I said, it goes real creepy real quick. And we have images like this. It looks freaking awesome, man. So this is all pillars of salt. And we have this guy here, and then we're coming down a little bit later. And this woman goes crazy, right? So she says there's a traitor in that stuff. So she suspects the salt-licking girl, and she's turning her into a pillar of salt somehow. And but then Maria says, "No, it's my fault. I was the one watching you. The principal asked me to come to the chapel for the secret rite." So she says, "What do you say? Wait a minute. You received the blessing of Maria from the principal? You, Maria Amano? Explain what this is all about." So she says, "Hey, I was the true Maria. Why would you perform a sacred rite on a mere girl?" So he says, "Hey, you told me your ex-wife was not Mary and that was the real Madonna. That's why I helped you kill your wife." And he's laughing. He says, "What's so funny?" "Misuzu, I'm sorry. My marriage to you was also a mistake. You are not Mary either. I searched many years for the true reincarnation of the Virgin, and I found her at last. Maria Amano." "What did you say?" But then this other girl says, "Hey, you saying I'm fake? You were insisted that I was the one. I was also blessed with your child 3 months ago. I'm sure it's a boy. I was going to name him Jesus." So she's going completely off the rails, and he says, "I'm the real Mary. Well, how do you explain these powers?" And then, I don't know, lightning strikes, and things started on fire, and then the statue of Maria is just breaking down, and oh no, it's the corpse of the first wife. It's crazy. And she says, "How could you?" So he laughs. "I thought Harajuku stood eternally, like Lot's wife, as a pillar of salt." Lot is, I believe, a biblical, it's a biblical tale. Salt rising up on Mount Sodom. And the quickest way to do that was to imprison her inside of a statue of Mary. So I've been entreating the corpse of your first wife for the last 20 years. So she's turning everybody into salt. And this is a great story, by the way. She's trying to killing everyone. And look at this. It's fantastic. And so this guy's completely calm. And he says, "Behold, this mountain of salt pillars, the final resting place of all those who have angered the witch woman." A truly terrifying woman. But then, he wants to do something with her. And, and also this guy seems to have the son of his first wife that's also been turned into salt. But then, with the Jesus pose here, and this is his fate. He's turning also into salt. So the women comes here, look at, this is so good, right? And she's so far gone that she wants to kill him. "I found you, Maria. How disgusting that you bear that name. I'll make short work of you. Fool, there's nowhere left to run. And then, you shall become salt of this mountain of it. You too of..." Okay, so I'm not sure if this is the right translation. There are some errors in here. I don't mind, right? I mean, I'm not a native English speaker, so, this is happening here, right? And then look at this. So she's dead. And then everybody starts to burn, and yeah, that's the end. And then we see, this is probably this one the weirdest. The spirit flow of Aokigahara. What she did. So this guy is sick, and he wants to die in a suicide forest, right? So his girlfriend comes with him to die, and they see something strange. So they camp here, so they're going to do it tomorrow. But when they wake up, it seems that something happened to the trees, like the bark's been peeled off. They're all leading in the same destination, and they all lost their leaves. So it goes to Mount Fuji. So instead of, killing themselves, they're going to follow the trail. And they are here, and they call it the dragon's mouth or something, or the dragon's face. And rumor has is that supposedly spirits spill out of the dragon's mouth, and it looks like the dragon sticking out its tongue out, so the flow also calls the dragon tongue. It's a phenomenon where spirits move together in a cluster. The spirits go on to paradise afterwards, or they suck back into another cave. Lots of theories. So, and then there's also some countless caves beneath it that leads in all directions. So he says, hey, I'm going to stay here. I want to see what's happened. And this girl says, no, I wait too. You said we should die together. I know, but we don't know when it happened. So, and we don't have any food. So he says, I'm going to stay, right? So they are waiting, and she's thirsty and all that stuff. So a torrent of souls comes out. And what does he do? He jumps in because he thinks it's going to lead him to heaven, right? So he jumps in the torrent, and then she's searching for him later. And what he was scared says, so he hold on to this bark, and something's changed. The force of the spirit flow was overwhelming. I clung to the tree, and souls pushed me past me, licking me. My body still is slick with it. So, and then he says, I feel good. I don't want to die anymore. Maybe the spirit flow has some kind of a power. And so she says, hey, we don't need to have any food. So he says, well, why don't you go home and get some food? I'm staying here. And then she comes back and she sees, suicide. But that's none other than her boyfriend. He looks different. And he says, why are you looking so healthy? And he also found a friend. And it's become very weird because he says, this is Mitsuya Wada. He came to the forest to die too. But then when he ran into me, I urged him to enter the spirit flow. And he's feeling better and he doesn't want to die anymore. She says, hi, right? And he says, Mitsuri and I are leaving. Yeah, we want to soak in the spirit flow. The sensation of the spirits licking you all over is really something else, right? So there's something weird going on. And she says, don't be ridiculous, though. You can stay here. And she just, wait here for the spirit flow. And these guys want to jump in, right? Look at this. It looks crazy. And every time they do that, they'll look weirder and weirder. With each dive, the pair seems to become more and more polished. And they say if it's, licking the fat of them, so they become a more pure human. And they also now naked and become doing some weird stuff, as you can see here. She's feeling very uneasy, right? Norio, your body is gorgeous. You too, Mitsuya. Right, and they're also mocking her, because she has a problem with that, and she's belittling her. You don't see any sexual stuff or something, but then they say, hey, I'm going to dive in too. So she's going to do that, but then she's gone, and they still look weirder. And they go into the cave, and they see this, right? And she is alive, and it seems that these things in here are also spirits turning into pillars, and they saved her. And there's now another spirit flow coming, right? I believe they're going to turn into these pillars, but I'm not entirely sure. And yeah, that's the end. It has a very Twilight Zone-esque feel to it. And also with this guy. So this guy has dreams about him or someone killing people. Like I said, art looks great, and he is, feel a little bit traumatized, and he can't sleep, and he wants to stay away because he thinks he is the killer, right? And there's also some songs, or he says something toward his victims. So this is probably the least interesting, but not bad at all. And he's hearing voices about death penalty and trials and all that stuff. So this guy is very anxious because he thinks he is the one, right? And he's buying all these hooded parkas, and he finds a knife, and then his girlfriend comes later in. And so he confesses that, Joker the Ripper, that he is the killer, right? Because he cannot do it anymore. And she says, no, that's not true. I don't believe that at all, right? So he explains the situation, and he says, hey, why don't you put up a camera and see what happens? and says, okay, I'm going home, so I can still make the last train, she says. And then she's getting attacked by someone, but then she's spraying him with pepper spray that saved her life, but she's, you know, hurt pretty badly. And it's the neighbor. So how it all transfers to his mind, it's not really that explained, but, you know, there's something here. And yeah, we get more stuff in here that is really disturbing. I'm not really going into details because, you know, I'm talking a lot and this is only 25 minutes in. But yeah, so it seems that when the killer died because he's hanged, his memories flows into the mind of this young boy. And then 10 years later, Kanami comes and he says, they found each other. You were afraid to see me after the attack, and it's no wonder. You stuck with the memory of trying to kill me, even though you're a victim too. I have scars all over my body, but the mental scars is mostly healed. How about you? So, yeah, he's fucked up. and we have the afterward. So overall, I think this is a good book, but I found that this particular book is not really for me. I don't know, I maybe visualize something else, but like I said, it's more like a Twilight Zone horror elements it with creepy stuff, and the creepy stuff really hits. It's really good. But I don't know, maybe I'm expecting a little bit more. So overall, it's a good book, but I don't know, maybe this one, Uzumaki, is a little bit more for me because from what I'm seeing here, the art style is the same, the creepiness